Missing for a week have been found near Alma, Wisconsin. At the legislature, the Senate kept the 65-mile-an-hour speed limit bill alive. In San Diego, Big Mouth regresses. His condition now is listed as grave. In Robbinsdale, a car called on a house. Didn't even know the occupants. And in St. Louis Park, a high school class reenacted the writing of our Constitution.
And everybody knows that it's all the way in mind. Kick the beat.
It's Hardware Hank's Sun and Fun Sale. 10 big days when your dollar buys more of what you need. Look, a steam and dry iron pressed down to $8.99 after rebate. A glass skillet, clearly a bargain for $7.99. Wake up and grab a 3-in-1 alarm clock radio telephone for only $36.99. But remember, you have just 10 days to save. The Sun and Fun Sale, only at Hardware Hank, where even the birds agree.
You got a lot more going for you.
Super Value wants you to know how to avoid getting beaten around the bushel. First, make sure the husks are fresh and green, never dry, yellowed, or broken. Next, look for yellow hybrid corn with plump, bright kernels that are firm to the touch. Or just come to Super Value, where all our produce is double your money back, guaranteed fresh. It's the best way to avoid getting beaten around the bushel, and it's only at Super Value.
I think it's time to buy a Volkswagen.
The right time to buy a German-engineered Volkswagen is now. Get the new Fox for just $56.90.
I think it's time to buy a Volkswagen.
3.9% financing on all other Volkswagens, plus factory-to-dealer incentives for extra savings on the Golf, Jetta, and 8-valve GTI. But hurry, these deals will be gone after May 31st.
I think it's time to buy a Volkswagen.
Volkswagens, it's time to buy a Volkswagen Day since May 31st.
Make your best deal on any new Volkswagen at your Twin Cities Volkswagen dealer today.
You are watching WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul. This is the 6 p.m. report.
Good evening, everyone. Walter and Dorothy Lindbergh, a Stillwater couple missing since late last week, have been found dead in southwestern Wisconsin. The Lindberghs, both in their 80s, left their farm near Stillwater 1 week ago today. They said they were going to a grocery store, but they never got there. Today, authorities said the Lindberghs were found dead in their car in a gravel pit near Alma, Wisconsin. The cause of their deaths has not been released. Tonight, Scott County authorities say they've wrapped up a major investigation that led to the recovery of $70,000 in stolen property. The operation ended today when charges were filed against a 37-year-old suspect. Caroline Lowe reports.
The Sheriff's Department is looking for the owners of more than 400 stolen televisions, stereos, and guns confiscated during a raid in Spring Lake Township in February. The bust at this home was part of a 6-month investigation of the owner, James Fredrickson. At a news conference, police described Fredrickson as a major fence who operated both from his auto parts store in Burnsville and his Scott County home.
The method of operation was for known burglars, professional burglars, to bring their items that they've stolen in burglaries throughout southern Minnesota, Minneapolis, northern Iowa, to his place of business, which time he would pay them cash.
Police learned of Fredrickson's alleged activities after they arrested 2 burglars in January and began watching the suspected fence. They say most of the stolen goods are believed to have been taken in burglaries during the past 10 years. So far, few owners have been located, and police hope that showing the items on television will prompt victims to contact them. Fredrickson is scheduled to make his first court appearance here in Scott County on Monday morning. With Gordon Leach, Caroline Lowe, WCCO Television News in Shakopee.
Officially, Fredrickson is charged with 13 felony counts of receiving and concealing stolen property. Robert Ruglovsky, a northeast Minneapolis Byzantine Catholic priest, pleaded guilty today to sexually abusing 6 boys. Father Ruglovsky pleaded guilty in exchange for a recommendation from prosecutors that he be sentenced to not more than 1 year in jail. If a judge accepts that plea bargain, Ruglovsky will not be allowed unsupervised contact with children for the next 15 years. Today, the Minnesota Supreme Court began debating whether the state may regulate what adults do in private. At issue, Minnesota's sodomy law and whether it is constitutional. The judges will decide whether to back the decision of a Hennepin County judge who threw out a sodomy case last year after ruling the law unconstitutional. A decision is expected to take several months. Today, the Minnesota House approved a bill to regulate the way clinics and hospitals dispose of aborted human fetuses. The bill was drafted after a dozen fetuses were allegedly found in a dumpster behind a Robbinsdale clinic. The Senate is expected to take up the measure next week. Today, by a margin of 2-1, the Senate passed its version of the 65-mile-an-hour speed limit bill, which now goes to the House Appropriations Committee, which yesterday failed to pass the House version of that bill. Northwest Airlines' parent company says it lost $35 million during the first 3 months of this year. Much of the loss is blamed on Northwest's takeover of Republican Airlines last year. 200 workers at the Iowa pork plant in South St. Paul were told today that the plant is closed, effective immediately. Iowa pork was purchased 2 days ago by a Wisconsin firm. Contract talks are underway for over 6,000 registered nurses in the Twin Cities. With a deadline 1 week away, negotiators say there are still major differences, but neither side says it wants a repeat of the 1984 nurses' strike. Minneapolis officials have decided to discipline at least 4 city workers in the wake of this week's I-Team investigation of the city's sewer department. On Monday, the I-Team reported that some sewer crews were spending more time on break than on the job. Officials say they'll not release details of the discipline until the workers involved have been notified. Doctors in San Diego have just held a news conference on Big Mouth the whale, whose condition is said to be deteriorating. That story is next, along with a look at what happens when the news literally hits home. We'll be back.
Come celebrate Cherokee's 7th annual sidewalk sale this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, May 7th, 8th, and 9th. Have a hot dog and Pepsi for only $0.25. Look over Toro's full line of push and self-propel lawnmowers, along with Toro's rear-engine riders. Cherokee's easy 30, 60, 90-day no-interest financing, plus Cherokee's quality service department make Cherokee the only place to buy your Lawn Boy lawnmower. Shop the rest, but buy the best at the 7th annual sidewalk sale this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, May 7th, 8th, and 9th. Cherokee Power Equipment, 63rd and Boone Avenue North, Brooklyn Park.
What will you do when you find out how much you could have saved at Knox? Knox. Nobody beats our building supplies.
Dimension lumber on sale now during Builder Days at Knox.
99 cents is all you pay for a Baskin-Robbins Sunday. Baskin-Robbins, just for you. A Sunday lover's dream come true.
The world's #1 selling car is now the Twin Cities #1 value at Bob Carter Ford. Only $63.95 for the front-wheel drive Escort. That's right, $63.95. Or better yet, put just $139 down at Bob Carter's, and the Escort is yours for only $139 a month. $139 down, $139 a month. Discover the Twin Cities #1 value today at Bob Carter Ford. Now more convenient than ever, just off 494 on South Robert, Inver Grove Heights.
Officials at SeaWorld in San Diego have just concluded a news conference on the condition of Big Mouth, the ailing beluga whale, formerly a resident of the Minnesota Zoo. SeaWorld officials disclosed yesterday that the whale now has a respiratory infection in addition to the bone disease. Joining us on the phone now with the latest on Big Mouth from San Diego is Ms. Jackie Hill of SeaWorld. Ms. Hill, moments ago we reported that Big Mouth's condition is grave. Does that still hold?
Yes, we would continue to say that is his status at this time. Our blood work today did not show any improvement, nor did it show any deterioration from his status of yesterday. We are treating the respiratory infection, which is the immediate concern, with antibiotics. We would like very much to see some improvement in that situation very soon.
Mm-hmm. Is Big Mouth eating any more than he has been?
He did eat over the weekend, as I'm sure you know. He has not eaten in the last day or two.
Mm-hmm. How about little girl? Is she responding? Is she reacting to this condition?
No, as a matter of fact, little girl seems to be behaving quite normally. She is as they both are, as a matter of fact, swimming around the tank at their facility here at SeaWorld, interacting some with each other. She doesn't seem to be noticing the conditions.
Mm-hmm. Then the prognosis continues grave, is that correct?
The prognosis continues to be very grave. We have an animal who has been ill for some time and has been steadily using up his reserves to deal with his illness, and now is facing the prospect of having to deal with another infection, and he just simply doesn't have much in the way of reserves left.
Mm-hmm. Ms. Hill, thank you very much for taking the time.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Surprising, the loss of Big Mouth, the little girl, has had no significant impact on attendance at our zoo. In fact, officials report the number of visitors to the Minnesota Zoo this year is up more than 30,000 over 1986. Zoo Director Catherine Roberts attributes the surge in attendance to the unusually nice spring weather. Ms. Roberts says a decision on whether to replace the belugas will be made next month. While most of us were sleeping last night, two men were leading Robbinsdale police on a high-speed chase. It ended at 38th and York North, where the suspect's car crashed through the front window of a house. No one in the house was injured, but the suspects were treated for minor injuries. Charges against them are pending. Little Canada police arrested a woman who stood in the middle of Rice Street and Owasso Boulevard, waving a handgun and firing one shot. Several streets were blocked off. Again, here, no one was injured. In St. Paul this morning, a Northern States Power Company employee, Tom Wenke, was working on some electrical equipment when whambo, his wrench touched a live wire. But because he was wearing his helmet and safety goggles, Mr. Wenke escaped serious injury. He was treated at St. Paul Ramsey Medical Center for minor facial burns and released. In a moment, along with Mike Fairborn's weather forecast, we'll see how the people of France will soon pay tribute to a Minnesota hero.
Presenting great moments in the history of the Hams Bear. After great moments like these, you deserve a Hams moment like this. Refreshing as the land of sky blue waters.
Hams, beer refreshing.
The Hams Bear always comes through, just like the refreshing taste of hams.
This is Paul Dewey's dream. And he's only a couple of years away from getting this house because Paul did something smart. He sat down with an IDS financial planner, a specialist in personal financial planning. And that's important when you're trusting someone with your dreams. Oh, Paul doesn't know about this yet.
IDS, an American Express company.
You're about to take a trip in a new Chrysler LeBaron, a true driver's car that gives you luxury and the luxury of saving. LeBaron prices start at just $11,295. And now get 3.7 financing or $500 cash back. Plus, save hundreds on our discount equipment packages and get the $770 protection plan. But to take this luxury saving trip, first, you have to take a trip to your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer. See the all-new LeBaron Coupe starting at $11,295 at your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
Ever since your post office invented express mail overnight delivery, others have tried to copy our Eagle. But it's not so easy. Because express mail has overnight reliability that's close to perfect, the most convenient locations, and prices as low as $10.75. Most others charge you about twice that. So if you want a combination of low prices, convenience, and reliability no one can imitate, use the original express mail service from your post office.
Okay, Joey, this is for the car. It's first spot run. That's the winner.
Wheel of Fortune.
It'll bring out the kid in you.
Today, preparations were made to send Charles Lindbergh back to Paris. The sculpture of Colonel Lindbergh by Paul Granlund, the artist in residence at Gustavus Adolphus College, will be officially dedicated at Le Bourget Airfield outside Paris on May 20th and 21st. That's the 60th anniversary of Colonel Lindbergh's landing on his famous New York to Paris flight in 1927, at which time, on the 20th and 21st, the city of Les Bourgets will be named a sister city of Lindbergh's hometown or boyhood town of Little Falls, Minnesota. And Her Honor, the mayor of Little Falls, will be there to do the honors.
Quite an accomplishment in that day.
What's new with you? Anything new?
Well, we're still getting the same old question. Is it ever going to rain? I don't know. I'll try to answer that, I guess. Nothing in the immediate future, anyway. The satellite picture continues to show some clouds just to the north and to the east of us. There have been a few sprinkles dotting western Wisconsin throughout the day today, but nothing to bring any appreciable rainfall at all. Are we in a drought? Well, we get a drought index report once a month. It's called the Palmer Index, and it indicates that we have a large area just to the west and throughout western Minnesota that is still moist. So officially a drought in this area? No. A little bit beginning to form up to the northwest, but you have to go clear out to the west before you find the very dry areas. And you contrast that with what we call crop moisture. Now, the drought would be the long-term stuff. The crop moisture would be what you need to just raise some crops, and this would be affected maybe like rainfall over a 3 to 4 week period. We're fairly moist in the southeastern corner of the state, but as you can see and would expect, much of the rest of the upper Midwest is dry, and that corresponds pretty well out in the west with that drought area as well. Our weather guide today, 76 degrees, 46 for a low, no precipitation. Are we going to get any over the weekend? Well, we thought we might see some shower activity on Mother's Day, but even now that's looking rather doubtful. We have some clouds drifting to the east of us. That's going to continue to drift to the east, and high pressure will build in from the west, bringing some warmer air with it as well. Our temperatures should hit up in the 80s here over the weekend as we kick off the fishing opener. Tomorrow's weather map, a little weak frontal system up to the north of us, may produce some stronger winds up to the north, maybe some clouds drifting by, but after that, the cool front will move on through us, and we'll just bring in another dry air mass, and it'll be warm again. Our high temperatures tomorrow should climb to near 80 degrees over much of the southern and western part of the state. A little pocket of 100s out in western Montana, and to the east, much cooler air. Our northwesterly wind flow is kind of dividing the cooler air to the east from the warmer air out to the west. Right now we're partly sunny at 73 degrees, humidity is 20%. As those winds die down, it should be a very beautiful evening out there. Winds will be diminishing. Right now they're still gusting up around 26 miles an hour. Dew point of 30 degrees, and the barometer is 30.12, and it's holding steady right now. Well, the forecast for tonight, mostly clear, 44 degrees for a low, light and variable winds. Tomorrow will be sunny and warmer, 78 degrees for a high. Winds will be picking up in the afternoon to 10 to 20 miles an hour. Then tomorrow night, mostly clear and 55, and as you cast out first thing Saturday morning, it'll be mostly sunny with high temperatures getting up into the 80s. The extended outlook keeps us in the 80s for Sunday and Monday, and Tuesday cools us off a little bit as we have another little dry front come through. No significant precipitation in sight.
You have to make arrangements to videotape your weather forecasts. We'll just play them every day.
Until things change.
Yeah.
Right?
Today, the Minnesota Medical Association honored WCCO Television for its work on Project Lifesaver. Project Lifesaver won the MMA's Community Service Award for excellence in medical journalism. If in your day history classes were boring, let's see the way it's taught in St. Louis Park.
My country's amendments were written a long time ago, and I'm gonna tell you something that I think you should know. The first 10 amendments are the Bill of Rights, and then the second 10, well,
First, you notice a few missing people. Then it occurs to you, no one's home. That's when you realize Super Value must be having a sale on national brands.
You only have until Saturday. Super Value peanut butter, creamy or chunky, only $3.29. Kool-Aid Coolers, assorted flavors, only $1.39. And regular low-salt Spam, $1.39.
So hurry into Super Value's Nashville Jamboree or live with the lonely feeling that comes from missing all those savings.
Don't do it. Don't shop at Best Buy Superstores today. Wait until tomorrow, because starting Friday for 4 days only, every item in stock is on sale. I'll say it again. For 4 days only, every single item at Best Buy is on sale. But remember, don't shop today. The sale starts Friday. Everything is on sale, only at Best Buy.
This boy and girl are the same age, but statistics show that on average, the girl should live 7 years longer. Because she's a better risk, she'll be able to buy the same individual life insurance coverage at lower cost. Basing premiums on the risk involved makes it possible to give you the fairest life insurance rates possible. It's a principle that works for us all. The lower your risk, the lower your premium.
Looking for superior front-wheel drive handling? The leading consumer magazine believes in Toyota, and so do satisfied Toyota owners.
We had a bad snowstorm, and there was four-wheel drive vehicles that were off the side of the road. We did 90% better than anybody else. It's just a dream car.
Your Toyota dealer wants to make a believer out of you with great deals on a good selection of front-wheel drive Camrys, Corollas, Tercels. Come on over to Toyota now for value you can believe in.
It's just a dream car.
And a great deal. Who could ask for anything more?
This year marks the 200th anniversary of the U.S. Constitution, and in many schools, some very creative teachers are arranging special projects to commemorate that event. At St. Louis Park High School, one class is learning firsthand what it's like to be a founding father or mother, while another is coping with newfound freedoms in a foreign land. Ava Thompson reports.
It's a lot easier to remember the constitutional amendments if you learn them to rap and rhyme.
No, the first 10 amendments are the Bill of Rights, and then the second 10, well, I guess so, all right.
These ninth graders wanted to update the Constitution, so they created a rap video. It's part of a class study on how America lived prior to the signing of the document. To do that, they've created a colonial town.
You each have to become a person in this town.
After several weeks of study, many of the students say there's not much they'd change about the 26 amendments.
I think a lot of people just take them for granted because they're there and they don't know what it's like not to have those rights.
But students in this social studies class for New Americans do know what it's like. Take Yamshid Mahmoudi, who moved to this country just 3 months ago from Iran, or New Dang, who's lived in the United States for 3 years. They say writing about the freedoms guaranteed by the Constitution comes straight from the heart.
I don't go to school at Vietnam, so I come here and then I start go to school and I see my life is happy.
There is many freedoms in this Constitution, and these freedoms makes it very good.
Good is probably how Constitution writers would have described the document, but they probably never thought it would be read to rhythm. The medium has changed, but the message is the same. Ava Thompson, WCCO Television News.
If it's been a while since you've cracked a history book, here's a little trivia fact for you. The Constitution was signed on September 17th, 1787, and ratified 3 months later. What? They're still at it? No, this was 2 weeks ago when children at the Learning Center in Roseville, Learning Tree Center, were hopping to raise money for the fight against muscular dystrophy. We are happy to report tonight that they and the children of the 27 other Learning Tree Centers raised $40,000 for the cause. Today in the third inning at the Metrodome, Frank Viola, with the bases loaded, struck out the World Series hero, Ray Knight, and that turned the point that early in the game.
It was a key, and we'll chat about that a bit later. The last couple of nights at the Dome could best be described as night frights for the Twins. What a difference a day makes. We'll have the highlights of an afternoon delight coming up next.
First, you notice a few missing people. Then it occurs to you, no one's home. That's when you realize Super Value must be having a sale on national brands.
You only have until Saturday. Kemp's Ice Cream, vanilla or New York vanilla, only $2.09. John Morrell Bacon, only $1.19. And Golden Plump Whole Fryers, just 47 cents a pound.
So hurry into Super Value's Nashville Jamboree or live with the lonely feeling that comes from missing all those savings.
Shop Menards and register free to win this Lund fishing boat package from Menards and Dutch Boy. And if you'd rather be fishing than painting, choose Dutch Boy's Super Latex House Paint, guaranteed for 15 years. Now just $13.88 a gallon. Or Dutch Boy's Dirt Fighter Latex House Paint with 10-year warranty, on sale now for just $10.88. Spruce up and save with Dutch Boy paints from Menards.
We're helping you build America's heartland at Menards.
Some breads look like D'Italiano, but they don't taste like D'Italiano. D'Italiano has the taste and texture of real Italian bread. It even has real sesame seeds. So it's the perfect bread for Italian ham, pepperoni, sausage and peppers, even such old Italian favorites as corned beef tuna fish, and American cheese. So if you want a hearty sliced bread that gives any food a delicious Italian accent, insist on real d'Italiano, only from Tasty.
Tonight, a new episode on a new night for Scarecrow and Mrs. King.
Looking forward to it.
Then Gary Coleman falls in with Rick and AJ.
Say what?
Say Simon and Simon. And when Knots Landing makes a promise, it promises all.
Now, I told you I didn't want any more follow-ups.
And it delivers.
A real nice kid.
Don't touch her!
What you guess will happen is just the beginning.
I think that you're worried that I'm better at what you do than you are.
And what does happen will shake the foundation of Knots Landing.
Well, sighs of relief around that Twins clubhouse this afternoon. Twins salvage a game against Baltimore, 5-2. Frank Viola, a much-needed win after dropping his last four starts. Dan Gladden with a double here in the first inning put the Twins on the board, and Gladden got credit for the game-winning RBI with this hit just inside the line there. Gladden also with a key hit in the Twins' 3-run seventh inning. Al Newman just gets home right there, and it's 1-0 Twins. They led 2-0 after one. Kirby Puckett's single in the seventh inning scored Gladden, and it gave Frank Viola a 2-run cushion at the time. This one to the opposite field by Kirby makes it 3-1. Gary Gaetti added the insurance with a seeing eye. A shot right here, a chop up the middle through the drawn-in infield, scoring a pair, and it's now 5-1 for the Twins. George Frazier came on in the eighth inning, and then Jeff Reardon finished it in the ninth with a tying run at the plate in the person of Freddie Lynn, a guy who usually eats up the Twins. Reardon gets him on a third strike called. Twins win at 5-2 to snap a 2-game losing streak. Twins now a half game behind California, which leads the West and is idle today. Kansas City is third, a half game behind the Twins. Viola says he's been listening to too many people and that he's starting to do things his way. For instance, third inning today, Viola put a couple of men on base, then with the bases loaded in the third, faced Ray Knight and got him on strikes.
Making a couple of mistakes early in the inning, putting the guys on base, throwing the ball in the center field. You know, in the past, people would say that would affect me and bother me. You know, today I just took that out of my mind and I just went and threw Knight the best pitches I had, and it worked out.
Was it a wise move to take you out when you gave up the hit to Ripken?
I forgot what it was like to get into the eighth inning. So, the relief pitchers are doing a heck of a job for us, and I was tiring myself. I was tired out a little bit, and you got to go with your best people. And right now the bullpen's really doing a nice job, and it worked out well.
Twins hit the road tomorrow, starting a 3-game series in New York. That'll be Mark Portugal facing Tommy John of the Yankees. Only one day game in the National, and they've already scored enough runs for the whole league. Look at that, 17-5 St. Louis in the ninth inning. The Gopher tennis team will open defense of its Big Ten tennis title tomorrow, 98th Street Racket Club in Bloomington. The Gophers may be defending conference champions, but they are not seeded number 1 in this weekend's Big Ten tournament. Michigan has that honor with the Gophers number 2. Michigan has won the Big Ten title 16 of the last 19 years. So we'll hear more on that, and of course Mark Rosen will feature that Gopher tennis team on his Rosen Sports Sunday. David, Mike Fairborn mentioned that the fishing opener is this weekend. I think he's getting a little anxious. It's the following weekend.
Oh,
maybe he's going to open it. I don't know.
Maybe Mike will be out there tomorrow. That's it for tonight's 6 p.m. report. Thank you and good night.
How many times has life handed you a line of baloney?
Baloney?